In America, we are raised on a simple promise. If you work hard, play by the rules, and treat people with respect, you will build a good life. For 12 years, I believed that. I was the senior project manager for a major logistics firm in the Midwest. I had a wife, Sarah, a beautiful 7-year-old daughter, and a reputation for absolute integrity. Then came the morning of October 14th. I walked into the office, expecting a routine Tuesday. Instead, 2 corporate security guards met me at the elevator. They didn't say a word. They escorted me straight to the executive boardroom. Sitting across from me was the regional VP, a man I had known for a decade, and 3 corporate attorneys. Before I could even say good morning, a thick folder was slammed onto the table. Inside were forged digital signatures, altered shipping manifests, and a paper trail showing that over $450,000 worth of high-end electronics had vanished from our primary fulfillment center. The VP looked at me with pure disgust. "We know it was you," he said. "Sign these termination papers, forfeit your stock options, and we won't call the police today. If you fight this, we will ruin you." I was completely innocent. The signatures weren't mine. The IP addresses used to alter the manifests didn't match my devices. But the evidence was beautifully, meticulously faked. I refused to sign their papers. Within 24 hours, I wasn't just fired. My name was leaked to local industry groups. I was blacklisted. When you are accused of white-collar theft on that scale, you don't just lose your job. You lose your entire life. The U.S. job market can be brutal. Every time a potential employer ran a background check or called a reference, the door slammed shut. Months turned into a year. Our savings evaporated. We had to sell the house we brought our daughter home to, moving into a cramped, 2-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. But the hardest part wasn't the money. It was the silence. Friends stopped texting back. Neighbors looked away at the grocery store. Even families started asking passive-aggressive questions. "Are you sure there wasn't a misunderstanding?" The psychological weight of being innocent but looked at as a criminal by everyone you love is a heavy burden. By year 2, I stopped looking for a corporate job. I took a low-paying night shift at a local warehouse just to pay rent, but during the day, I became obsessed. I spent every spare dime on a private digital forensic investigator, a retired cybercrimes detective who specialized in corporate data. For 14 months, we dug through public filings, archived network metadata from my old company, and employee timelines. And then we found the thread. The logistics firm had hired a new chief financial officer just 6 months before I was fired. He was brought in to streamline the company for a massive private equity buyout. But looking deeper into his past, my investigator found a pattern of operational discrepancies at his previous firms. We tracked the exact timestamps of the forged shipping manifests. 2 of them were uploaded at 11:30 p.m. on weekends, times when the corporate office was completely empty. Except for one person. The CFO's personal security badge had scanned into the executive suite on those exact nights. He wasn't just stealing inventory. He was running a massive, systematic embezzlement scheme, and he needed a high-ranking scapegoat to take the fall so the upcoming $200 million buyout wouldn't be delayed. I was targeted because my pristine record made the perfect shield. I didn't go to the company. I didn't call the VP. If you want to take down a corporate shark in America, you don't use a fishing pole, you use a harpoon. We compiled a 300-page forensic report and handed it directly to the FBI's white-collar crime division and the IRS. Because the stolen electronics had crossed state lines, it was a federal matter. For 6 months, I had to keep my mouth shut while the government quietly built their case. It was agonizing. Every day I went to my warehouse job, bruised and tired, knowing the man who ruined my life was flying in private jets. The climax came on a Thursday morning. The logistics firm was hosting a massive press conference at their Chicago headquarters to announce a $200 million acquisition by a major New York investment firm. The CFO was on stage, smiling, holding a microphone. He never got to finish his speech. For federal agents walked right onto the stage in front of the entire press pool, local news cameras, and board members. They read him his rights, cuffed him in his custom-tailored suit, and led him out the front doors in front of the world. The fallout was absolute. The CFO eventually took a plea deal, revealing the entire scheme and admitting under oath that I had been intentionally framed. The logistics firm's board of directors panicked. They knew a massive federal malicious prosecution and defamation lawsuit was coming. They sent their top attorneys to my tiny apartment with a settlement offer. I didn't accept their first offer, or their second. When the ink finally dried on the final settlement, the payout was enough to ensure my family, my daughter, and her future children would never have to worry about money again. The company was forced to issue a formal public apology printed in the state's largest newspapers. People often ask me if I feel victorious. The money changed our lives, yes. We have a beautiful home again. But the truth about a deep betrayal is that the scars don't disappear just because a bank account fills up. I learned exactly who my real friends were when the world turned dark. I lost 2 years of my life to a corporate lie, but I gained something far more valuable. The undeniable proof that truth in this country might get delayed, but if you fight hard enough, it can never be destroyed. Would you have taken the settlement, or would you have taken them all the way to a public trial? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.